Welcome to AT Insider. My name's Eleanor, and in this video I will be talking about Brain FM, a music platform that supposedly uses functional neuroscience-based audio to help users focus better by guiding their brainwaves into a specific state. Now that is a lofty claim, and Brain FM makes a lot of them. You've probably already heard of Brain FM and its magical capabilities because of their massive ad campaign. I'll play one of their ads right now that on YouTube alone has nearly 150 million views.
This is your brain when you're struggling to focus. And this is your brain when you're in the zone. But getting in the zone and staying there, that feels more like luck than something you can control. So that's why we made Brain FM. It's like a do not disturb setting for your mind, and it gets you focused in just 5 minutes. Using science and sound, Brain FM guides your brainwaves into an optimal state for productivity called neural phase locking, which lets different parts of your brain work together more easily. Compared to average music, Brain FM actually increases and sustains your focus over time.
But why am I specifically reviewing this platform? Because I usually focus on learning disabilities, accommodations, and AT. Well, it's because people with specific learning disabilities, and more specifically people with dyslexia, very frequently struggle with attention deficit disorders like ADD or ADHD. In fact, the two are comorbid, they are linked. If you have dyslexia, the studies show that 20 to 40% of the time you will also struggle with an attention deficit disorder. And Brain FM makes a lot of lofty claims about being able to help people specifically with ADHD. In fact, if you go to Brain FM's website, one of their 5 tabs is actually just titled ADHD. And if you click into that tab, they state that they are the first producers of music for people specifically with attention deficit disorders. They go on to mention one of their peer-reviewed research studies that states that their music increases focus brainwaves by 119% in users that show ADHD symptoms. Now, again, that is a population of people that show symptoms, not necessarily diagnosed, but nevertheless, supposedly, this tool is incredibly helpful for people with attention deficit disorders. They claim that their music optimizes stimulation, boosts motivation, and synchronizes brainwaves. So as somebody with ADHD and as somebody who is dyslexic, I thought that I have to give this a try and see if it works. But before I jump into my review, let's go to VoiceOver Eleanor to actually show you how Brain FM operates and a couple of its cool features.
So you can firstly select the type of music you'd like to listen to, whether that be focus, relax, sleep, or meditate. For the purposes of this video, I will be focusing on focus though. So you'll select that. Then you can select the activity within the focus section, whether that is deep work, motivation, creativity, learning, or light work. So once you select that, it will play a set of tracks designed for that type of work. Then you can also select some things regarding the timer or how the music is played, whether that be a timer where after a designated period the music stops, an interval timer, which is good if you're using the Pomodoro studying technique, or infinite mode, where it just continues to play music infinitely until you pause it. You can also use to activate quotes, which replace the timer. So if you don't want to see how long you've been studying for, you can activate the quote setting. And it provides you with inspirational quotes like this one from Gandhi. If you want to change the world, start with yourself. And then again, you can just click back on the quote and make it disappear. And so you can then select the music to see a lot of details on it. The mental space, the activity that it is categorized under, the moods, its complexity, brightness, and the instrumentation. You can favorite it or dislike it. If you favorite it, it will go into your favorite track album. So if you select your favorite track album, it will only play songs that you favorited. And if you dislike a song, it will skip that track and never play it again. And I think that is super beneficial and a really cool little feature. So I will just play through a couple songs here in the different categories in the focus section, and you can just see the type of songs that they provide. Alright, so what you saw just there was me playing around, playing a variety of different tracks in the different activity section. What you also saw there was that if you like a specific song, not only can you favorite it so that it is added to your favorites album, but it also prompts you with similar tracks based on the mood and instrumentals, the complexity and brightness. So now what I want to show you is moving over here to your library. And so you can see here that it shows our recently favorited. So all of the songs that I had favorited will show up there. And you can also just go to recent and it just shows all of the songs that you've listened to recently. You can also look up songs based on genre or name, instrumentation, or mood. And so you can look up here and you can type in something like guitar, and it will show you a bunch of acoustic or groovy songs. We can look at this one here. And that there is the basic functionality of Brain FM, how it works, and a little preview of a lot of the different songs under the focus category. All right, back to voiceover Eleanor.
So now that you see how Brain FM works, what's my opinion? Do I think it's worth the price tag? And just to be clear, the price tag is $99 a year if you purchase a year-long subscription, which works out to about $8.30 a month. Or if you were to purchase a month-to-month subscription, it's $14 a month. Now, they just had a Black Friday sale when it was 50% off, and they likely will do another sale like that in the future, so you could probably watch and get it for, let's say, $50 a year if you were willing to wait. So, nevertheless, do I think Brain FM is worth that price tag? Has it worked for me, somebody with a specific learning disability, dyslexia, and somebody with ADHD? Do I think it both boosted my creativity or my focus? Well, let me talk about my experience. I used Brain FM for 6 days. You're allowed to do a 3-day free trial without even having to put in any credit card information. If you put in your credit card information and are willing to risk it resubscribing you after a 14-day period, then you can have 14 free days. But by just putting in an email, I was able to gain access for 3 days to all of Brain FM. And I did that on 2 different accounts because I really wanted to give Brain FM a fair shot. Because, to be completely honest, I am a skeptic of this kind of stuff. I'm somebody who usually, when I'm studying, listens to nothing at all because I think to be completely focused in the task at hand, I can't have other stimuli going on in the background. In fact, I try to go to a room when there's no one else there so I can really focus with the task at hand. But I wanted to give Brain FM a fair shot. So I used it over the course of 6 days on a couple different activities. I used it during a creative task where I listened to their creative music. Specifically, when I was creating the thumbnail for this video, I listened to Brain FM for about an hour because this thumbnail did take me a little bit of time. And did I think it was nice? Absolutely. I was able to play around with some of the features. I thought some of the songs were pretty groovy. In fact, I really liked some of them. Some of the other ones I didn't like, and I was able to just dislike and move on. And I thought the functionality worked great for that specific circumstance. Do I think it made me more creative? No. I think it was just nice to have on in the background. I could have equally listened to a podcast or lo-fi beats on YouTube, and I think it would have given me the same effect. Except for the fact that if I were to listen to a podcast or a song on Amazon Music or Spotify or YouTube, I would have been inundated with advertisements, which would have definitely taken me out of the creative experience of creating the thumbnail. So that's something really good about Brain FM. There's absolutely no distractions. I also tried it during a study session, a couple actually, when I was studying for an AP Physics C test. Now, do I think it boosted my focus? No, not really. Was it nice to have on in the background? Yeah, I think it probably made the experience a little bit more enjoyable, but for me at least, I still found it to be quite a distraction. Even when I was using the focus mode with the deep work category, some of the songs were a little bit too catchy, and I found myself focusing on them, even though they supposedly were supposed to make me focused on the task at hand, my studying. So for me personally, I found that Brain FM doesn't really work. Now I will say, if you are someone who listens to lo-fi beats or listens to classical music, this will probably be a super cool tool for you because it has all of these features to catalog your music. It seems like it has an endless selection of songs, and all of those songs don't have any distractions because there's no advertisements, there's no noise between skipping through songs. So if you are somebody who tends to like music, I think this is really cool. Do I think it's worth the price tag? Again, for me, probably not. If I wanted to listen to music, would risk having to listen to an ad or two using Spotify or YouTube. But if you're someone who listens to these songs very frequently, I think this may be worth the price tag, even though it's $100 a year. Now, again, to put that price into comparison with other AT tools, Learning Ally is roughly $150 a year. So if you just think about it in that sense, if we're gonna allocate our money somewhere, is it worth it on Brain FM, or is it worth it to put it to a tool like Learning Ally? Well, that's up to you. All right, so what is my overall review? Is it a yay or is it a nay? For me personally, it was a no. I would never spend $100 a year for a tool I probably wouldn't use. But if you are somebody who usually listens to music, this is probably the premium tool for that. It's very specific, it has a niche audience, and I think if you're part of that niche audience, this tool will be perfect for you. So definitely try it out regardless of who you are, because although I did think from the advertisements it was gonna probably be a scam, it's not. It's actually a pretty nice, well thought out piece of, you may call it, assistive technology equipment. All right, if you want to see more videos like this one, or videos where I focus more on assistive technology products for people with specific learning disabilities like dyslexia, dysgraphia, and the like, you can check out my channel. I also have videos where I have just candid conversations about my experience with dyslexia and ADHD as somebody who's in high school having to deal with teachers and peers and all of the hauserei that comes along with using AT and accommodations in school. You can also check out my website, which will be the first link in the description below. On that website, I have a lot of my reviews on my YouTube channel in a written format, and also some content that is exclusive to the website. So I suggest that you check out both. All right, I hope you enjoyed this review. I hope you have a fun time playing around with Brain FM. I thought it was a scam. I don't think it is anymore. So I think it's worth your time and effort to just try it. And I hope you have a great day.